Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Mother Hour. I am Kate Morrow, one of your lovely hosts here, and I am a mom of two crazy littles that keep my life crazy. 1 minute they can be sweet and innocent, and then the next minute we are just balancing absolute chaos. I'm also a full-time working mom where I'm balancing life, motherhood, as well as everything in between.
Hello, my name is Lauren. I have a daughter. She's going to be 2 in May, just one right now. I am a part-time nurse practitioner, so juggling that with motherhood, and also I'm training for the Boston Marathon. So add that into the chaos. And we are here to share our unfiltered stories, tips, experiences as we navigate this crazy journey of motherhood. We're happy to have you here tonight.
Well, thank you again for joining us for another week of Mother Hour. We have been MIA a little bit because we have just had life experiences. But
Yep.
today we are going to tackle the topic of surviving the chaos, real mom stories, mostly just from you and I right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like we have so much to share regarding this topic specifically, especially with chaos of raising littles, raising toddlers, traveling.
Yeah.
Um, I think I can speak right for you as well on how chaotic it can be. And then also we're gonna just dive in and share our experiences, our tips, laugh together as we share. I'm sure some fun stories as we go along the way. So be sure to just listen in as we share this.
Heck yeah.
So like I said, surviving the chaos of real moms is kind of the topic that we're going to talk about today. But first, we're going to kind of lay out a new layout of this podcast. We're always trying to get better.
Yep.
So to start with, before we dive into this fun topic, we're going to do a little bit of life updates. So to start with, Lauren, kind of tell us a little bit about what's been going on. Because like I said, it's been a hot minute.
It has been a hot minute. So we'll obviously dive into more of the kids stuff here coming up with our topics, but personally, life update. I'm looking into, well, I haven't officially become a Botox injector, but I'm going to be taking a class to do like medical aesthetic injections. So it'll be Botox, chemical peels, skincare. And then if that takes off, or if I decide to, I can start doing fillers and stuff as well. So just kind of a new career update. Um, Looking down the road, I don't know if I'm going to be able to be working steady 2 days a week when I have another kid just because of childcare. So I was trying to find something that was a little more flexible. And this is literally all on my own time. I can choose my own people, choose my own patients, all that kind of stuff. So it's something I've always kind of wanted to do. So that's my newest update. I take a class in April to do all, like, to get certified to do all this. So far I haven't really done anything, but
That's
it's
exciting, though.
exciting. Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I'm pumped about it. Something like out of the craziness of normal everyday healthcare. I needed a little bit more of a luxury healthcare gig.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
That's fun. And
Yeah.
you also ran a prep race for your Boston
Mm,
Marathon this weekend,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. So I did a so it's so funny because I I ran a half marathon race this weekend and I was chatting with some of my friends and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're running a half marathon this weekend? Is anyone coming to watch you? Or are you just going out?" I'm like, I run a half marathon now almost every weekend when I'm training, but I just decided I'm like, I want to hop in a race to kind of test it out a little bit, test out to see where I'm at. So one of my girlfriends actually came and watched me run the whole thing, which was so awesome to have her up there. It went well, ended up taking the win for females, so I'm really pumped for Boston now. I was like,
That
oh, I'm really pumped.
that is so awesome.
It
I
was
think
fun.
your whole journey, I feel like in like almost what the last year of training for this,
Mm-hmm.
um, has been so cool to watch. Like it's just
Thanks.
inspirational. And I feel like also if people are not aware of your journey that you have been posting about, definitely check her out. She's
Yeah,
awesome. Her
I
content
really
is
enjoy
great.
it. I enjoy posting about it because, yeah, like I have so many people ask, like, what do you do to train? What are you doing to train? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna like I'll just post it online. And it seemed like a lot of people are interested in that and like juggling that with motherhood and work and everything. But um I I feel like I've become kind of numb to it now too because I'm constantly running so much that it's good for me to look back also and be like, okay, no, I put in the work. I've done this. Like I am prepared to run this race. My times are lining up with that. So it's also good for me as like kind of a self check,
Hmm.
like for me and my anxiety. Like, no, you're
I,
good. You got
I
this.
feel that one. Definitely feel that one. How do you feel after you're at the Boston? You've already ran it. Everything's like done and over with that you've been training what the last year for. And then you had that conversation with Eric about finally like giving in and having that second kid. Like, how do you feel? Like you've been like instant go mode and then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll give that up now and
Yeah,
I'll have another kid.
I already know I'm gonna keep running. When I'm
Yeah.
pregnant, I ran with Josie too. I wasn't really training for anything, but honestly, the day before I gave birth to her, I went out and ran like 4 miles. So it's nothing that is like I'm not gonna give it up, but I probably won't. I'm not gonna be pushing myself to run a marathon or something
Hmm.
like that. But I'll probably just have to find joy in it in more of a relaxing way, which is going to be good for me too. But yeah, I'm just going to keep running.
You're not giving it up.
No, it's the same thing as horse riding. I mean, I
Yeah.
rode horse. Same with you. You rode horses. We were
Hmm.
like, we rode until we couldn't 2 point anymore.
Yeah.
So, and it's like if I did give it up, I would lose my mind. And
Hmm.
from a healthcare provider standpoint, as long as it's something that you've been doing, it's like if I decided to get pregnant and then run a marathon, I've never done it before in my life, that would be a horrible decision. But it's something it's no change from what I'm doing now. And it's actually going to be way, way less work and mileage and stress on my body. But I'll still go out and run recreationally.
That's good. So it's okay. You'll
It's
run the
okay.
Boston.
I'm
You're
feeling
gonna
good.
place great. You're gonna
I'm
make even more cool videos and keep up
I'm
with your
feeling good.
journey. And then you'll
I'm
be like, oh, now I'm having
not
another kid. Everything's gonna be peachy.
Now I'm gonna like there's some fun races that I'll do like this summer, but nothing like I won't race. Like a good thing for me to do is run with Josie in the stroller because it's literally like I can't go fast.
Hmm.
And she likes it. So maybe we'll do some stroller races this summer. I have Eric signed up for another 5K too.
I freaking love that. Is he excited about it?
He was guilted into it because my whole family's doing it and my
Oh,
sister and her boyfriend. So I was like, Eric, you're seriously gonna be the only one not doing it. You have to do it. And he's like, fine, just sign me up. So he's gonna do one in May with me. But yeah, we'll keep the running thing going. So then yeah, all new content, running in pregnancy. What will that bring?
I love it though. I feel
Yeah.
like just think of the different type of people that you can tap in that are gonna like watch your
Mhm.
content and support you. Like it's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be yeah. It's like actually one of my girlfriends who I ran with in college, she ran the Olympic marathon trials and she was pregnant. She ran
Wow.
the marathon pregnant at like 6 minute mile pace.
Dang.
I know. And there was another girl who was like heavy pregnant. She was like 7 months pregnant and ran the whole thing. Which I mean, more power to you, but I'm not gonna be doing that.
I give
So
you guys all the credit in the whole
we'll
entire
see.
world.
We'll see how it goes. And obviously, like I know my body. If I start feeling pain or concern about anything, hard stop. No, this is truly at this point it will truly be for mental health, recreation, nothing like competitive.
Hmm.
So it'll be I'll be smart about it.
That's awesome. Perfect. So,
Yeah, any updates with you?
um, hmm. Well, we finally are getting back into the normal routine of life. We came back from a week away, which was not relaxing whatsoever, but it's okay. It was worth the
Yeah.
memories. I think the hardest part is just getting back into like the normal routine. Both of my kids were sleep schedules were completely off.
Oh my God.
And Noli started getting all of her molars in while we were gone. And her new thing was just to scream.
Oh,
So we're working through that. So that's like a family update on my children, how they just don't want to sleep.
Oh my
We're just
gosh.
screaming. But as it relates to work and stuff, it's absolutely chaos. I'm a part of this massive system wide project right now to the point where like I can't take any days off probably until June. So that's fun.
Oh my gosh.
I used to go to the barn like twice, 3 times a week most likely, and now I'm down to like literally only once a week and then once on the weekends just because like I'm working till almost after 5. Um,
Yeah.
but it will all pay off in the end. I know it will. It's just
Yeah.
you gotta do your time and commit
Oh,
to everything because you want to keep growing in your career, you know?
yeah.
So that right now. But we're just chugging away. Next week Ryan goes to Texas Monday through Wednesday. And I'm also in Grand Rapids 2 of those full days working. So it's gonna be fun. And I also have the JBF sale in Grand Rapids, and so I
Oh
have to drop
yeah.
all my stuff off on Sunday. And I literally just started creating those tags last night. So I just am like, whatever. And this is the first year I can't shop, so it's okay. I obviously have work stuff to do, but adulting, not spending money, but making
Yeah.
money. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
That's where I'm at now too, trying to be smart about that. But no, I feel ya. It's like if you look at the whole picture is when it gets stressful. So like it's just taking it like a chunk or like a day at a time. Just gotta kind of not like look out too far, or else then that's when my brain starts to spiral.
Oh yeah, and like that's what I've been doing the last like I always go like 2 weeks out my calendar, and I'm like, okay, what appointments did I have? Or like, for
Yeah.
example, I made a facial on the 14th of March. So I'm like, oh, this massive project I'm a part of is going to be done with, and so like I can finally go get this facial again because I haven't gotten one since Valentine's Day. No, not Valentine's Day. It was supposed to be Valentine's Day. I don't know. It was a few months ago.
Yeah.
And I had to cancel it because I can't get it done in time. And same thing with Baylor's speech next week. I have to be in Grand Rapids all day, so I have to move that. But yeah, I'm just day by day,
Yep. Day by day. Yep. I totally feel
especially
ya.
with the single parent life of trying to balance it all. But we'll get it done.
Yep.
We'll talk about that next week too.
Exactly.
So, like we said earlier, in the episode when it first started, we're really going to go over like surviving the chaos of motherhood in general and sharing our stories specifically of like just examples that we've been facing and then how it can relate to others to listen in. Um, so we're really going to be focusing on the adventures of traveling with little ones, just because I think we both had those experiences top of mind right now,
Yep.
specifically with you going on your trip and then um, my family just getting back the last few days ago. And then also just surviving the whirlwind of toddlerhood. I feel like it's a
Oh,
whole nother can of worms on how to deal with them
yeah.
and how to reason with them, and then everything in between. Like I said earlier, I feel like this topic is just so close to our hearts because we're in the thick of it right now. And let's face it, every mom is in the thick of it at one point of their lives.
Yep.
If they have kids, no matter how hard we prepare or what's coming our way, it's always a roller coaster that we're constantly riding and we
Yes.
cannot get off. From packing endless amount of snacks to then dumping it in our car where it's a constant mess
All over our
to
shirts. Yeah.
massive tantrums no matter if we are in public or at home to juggling nap time schedules with the daily home to-dos. There's never a dull moment I feel like that we live in.
Nope.
So we just want to share with that. So to start with, kind of tell us a little bit about your trip in Florida. Like, how was the plane ride? I mean,
Yep.
we got the awesome little vlog that you sent in about Josie on her plane and watching Miss Rachel, which was the cutest thing.
Oh
But
yeah.
how was it? How was it waiting? How was it landing? How was it once you were there?
Yeah. So, thank God, shout out to my sister because I had her with me. Eric obviously didn't come. So it was me and my sister, Josie's aunt. So we got to the airport. Everything was fine. I mean, it's just, we're juggling, getting everything in the car, getting her to the airport. We got to the airport at the perfect time, got through security, no major issues. It's just, I would be freaking out if I didn't have an extra set of hands, if I didn't have Katie, because even like, so Josie's in the stroller, and if you put her down, she bolts away. She literally sprints away. Why? I mean, I guess I run a lot too. She just like takes off. She right now has no sense of like, oh, this is my mom. This is safety. Like, I need to stay by my mom. I'm in a flippin' airport. No. Boom. So I have to hold her, but she's also like really, really heavy. So I can't hold her for very long. Trying to get the stuff up on the conveyor belt for security. If I didn't have Katie, it would have been awful because I had to get her out of the stroller. They have to swab down the stroller for whatever thing. You're trying to open and close it up. It's just a pain in the butt. But once you get through that, okay, get her back in the stroller. And then the plane was delayed twice to take off. I know the same
Mhm.
thing happened to you too. And I'm like, okay, I have to take her out of the stroller. She's like losing her mind. And I don't blame her. I mean, she was in the car for an hour to get there. She doesn't want to be stuck here. So I let her free. And that was, you just chase her around. Literally just chase her around. And
Mhm.
I'm like, just like counting down the seconds on my watch. And I found this little nook in the Detroit airport. And it had like one wall of kid, I don't even want to call it toys. It was kid distractions. It was like this wooden play thing that they could play with. And it was in this little tiny alcove. So I could stand there and kind of like block her in there so she could run around and I could block her in. And there was like a few other moms and stuff there too. And we're all just looking at each other like, this sucks so bad. And I'm like, but I know Grand Rapids has a great little kid area,
Mhm.
but that I feel like every airport needs to have a flippin' closed in area like they do at the mall, some malls where it's just like a
Mhm.
kid play area. Dude, I would pay. I would pay by the hour to use something like that. Um, that's a huge, that was a huge issue. But once we got on a plane, that was exciting. But I mean, 3 hours on a plane is a lot. She did really
Mhm.
well, but it's constant like, here's a snack, here's this, and you never really know what's going to be the thing that she cares about. But it was my sister's water bottle. Okay, that kept her entertained for a while. I had shows downloaded on the iPad that kept her entertained, but it's constant juggling. So we finally she did such a good job, and it was like the last half hour. We were also on the plane early because we're the first ones to board, so we are on for an extra 45 minutes, which I didn't do on the way home. And finally we're starting to land, and I could tell that her ears were hurting, and she was like pulling on her ears, and there's nothing I can do. It's horrible. And the person in front of me turns around and he goes, "Well, I guess you almost made it without crying." And I'm like, "Oh,
Bull.
yeah." I'm like, dude, I'm like, her ears hurt. She's 1.5.
Mhm.
I don't know what to tell you, so we made it. We got off the plane, but it was during nap time, so no nap. Um,
Mhm.
and I mean, it all was worth it when she saw my parents, though. I mean, that video was so stinking cute. Um, and then at that point, you have Mimi and Papa there, my grandma and grandpa, and
Mhm.
my mom and dad, and they can kind of take over and help with stuff. But my parents, the trip went really well. It went really well. It was really fun. I'm glad we went down there. But after all was said and done, my parents asked me like, so was it worth it? All the like coordinating and travel and all this stuff, was it worth it? And I was like, I I would not at this stage in her life travel with, if it was just me and Eric and her going on vacation on an airplane somewhere, I would not do that.
Mhm.
I would not do that. Like if me and Eric are paying to go down to stay at a resort for a week and bring her on vacation with us, it would not be worth it. But to go down and visit family and be with family and do, like, she got to see her great grandma and grandpa, and we had a house down there and I had help. Yes,
Mhm.
100%. But to just go on like a family vacation where we're flying across the country, no,
Mhm.
wouldn't do it.
I feel that.
Wouldn't do it. It was not that part. It would not be worth it if it was just me and Eric and her trying to
Mhm.
juggle that. But totally worth it to see family.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's cheaper too because we're staying at my with my parents and stuff, So,
mhm.
but I mean, after that, I talked to Eric. I'm like, we have so many places here in Michigan that we go. We have the camper, the my parents' house on the lake, the up north. I'm like, that is totally where we're going to be having our family vacations for the next 5 years.
Mhm.
So, yeah. What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, the first time we traveled with Baylor, he was the same age as Noli. Like literally they turn 1 and like 4 days later we take him on an airplane. I feel like that's just the trend that we do. But then again, I always have family there to help. So like the first time we
Yeah.
flew with Baylor, we went down to the Keys for my sister and brother-in-law's wedding. And my parents flew with us down there. But then my sister and brother-in-law were down there and all my family was down there because like they were getting married. So like it was great.
Yeah. Yep.
Um and then this time around, again, Noli just turned 1 and here we are taking off a freaking plane ride. But my parents were there. And so like I'm so grateful for them for their help. I remember the time we came home from the Keys, it was just Ryan and I and Baylor, and I was crying at the airport because I was so stressed out because I'm like, Ryan, I can't do this. And then Ryan's like, well, yeah, people probably thought I was like beating you up or something when you're going through security because you're crying. Like, I was just so stressed. I was just like so, yeah,
What is that?
I don't know. I was just so stressed out at that time. But this time around it was nice because like my parents were there the whole time and
Yep.
I truly needed my mom and dad both on the way home because for 2 hours, I think on the way home, I think the altitude that we were flying on was just so bad that like it was wrecking my ears. Like
Oh,
I ended up landing and I couldn't hear a thing. Like it was just terrible. Like I finally got my hearing back for the most part in my left ear like today. But that was like I came home on Thursday night, so like that's a few days that I couldn't
oh
hear.
my
But to
gosh.
make it worse, Noli screamed in my ear almost the whole entire flight. And
And
like
there's
at
nothing you can do.
no, and like at one point it was like maybe 30 minutes left in the flight, and it felt like the longest flight of my whole entire life.
Yeah.
I just started crying, like Noli's crying, and then I'm
Yeah.
crying, and my dad looks at me and he's like, "It's okay, it's okay." I'm like, I just don't even know what to do anymore. I can't hear.
Yeah.
All I hear is my ears ringing. And
Yeah.
then like Noli was uncontrollable. Like then my mom just took her and then she was quiet for a hot second and then she just started screaming again. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then people start looking around and they're just
Yeah.
looking at you. And then I'm like, we were in the front of the plane. So I'm like, everybody can probably hear us. And I'm like, this is the worst. So
Yeah.
I totally feel you as it relates to going with family for support because if it was just
Yeah.
Ryan and I probably would in Baylor, I'd probably like literally have a tiz fit of a meltdown
Oh,
bigger than I already did.
yeah.
Baylor slept the whole way home. Like he's great. Taking a
Yeah.
3-year-old like is definitely feasible. But like we also went to Georgia when Baylor was 2, I think just turned 2. Um, but we drove down there with my sister and brother-in-law and obviously my parents, and that was terrible. Like I will never drive
Oh.
in a car 17 hours with a
Oh, hell
kid. Like,
no.
and then also I realized that Noli's a terrible traveler, so like she needs to mature a little bit before she goes
Yeah.
anywhere again. So she's staying home for a long time.
Yeah.
Or if we go on a trip, it's just gonna be Ryan and I again because I'm not taking her because she's just uncontrollable.
Yeah.
So I totally feel you on that side.
Yeah, because then it's what you said too, is like it rolls into then their sleep schedules are all messed up. And it's like even though when you're sitting on that airplane and you're thinking about like I still have to undo all this luggage. I have to wash all this crap. I got to put all this stuff away. It's like it's a whole nother load of that
Mm-hmm.
if like it would not be a fun vacation for me and Eric just to take her somewhere like
Mm-hmm.
that big of a deal. So that's where I'm at with it. Glad I
Yeah.
went. Definitely recommend if you're doing a vacation like that, it has to be with family or
Oh yeah.
somebody that you can, friends or someone who can help you with the kids. Because even like thinking about if we're sitting at we couldn't even leave the room. I mean, she naps. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I'm all about making memories. I absolutely do that.
for
Like, I feel
sure.
like Ryan and I work really hard to be able to afford going on trips and everything like that. But to your point, like, yeah, I'll definitely take you somewhere in Michigan.
Oh,
two
yeah.
hours in the
They
car.
think
I
it's
mean,
exciting. It's exciting
even
for me.
traveling, yeah, traveling up to Traverse to see like my sister and brother-in-law when Baylor, I think, was younger, like about a year ago when we did it.
Yeah.
Just the 2 hours though was chaos too because he wouldn't sit still. So thankfully we have the iPads that he can
Yeah.
like actually like
Watch a
listen
show
to
or
now.
whatever. Yeah.
It keeps him distracted, but Noli's at the age where she doesn't care about that. She just wants to scream. So like she
Yeah.
just needs to mature a little bit, or I'm gonna buy stock in headphones so that I don't hear her screaming in the back
There
because
you go.
I swear. But I mean, we did do Orlando, and I am not an Orlando person.
Me neither.
It's been a long time since I've been there. A long time.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was there, I'm like, I absolutely hate my life. I was actually looking at Airbnbs that I wish I was at, to be completely honest.
When you were in Orlando, you're like, I'm gonna rent this
Yeah.
Airbnb piece.
Yeah. Ryan's like, can we trade? And I'm like, I freaking would go to the beach right now instead of sitting in traffic where it's
Yeah.
2 miles and it takes an hour to get anywhere because there's so many flipping
Oh, it's
people.
it's insane.
And I'm like, this is not for me. And like my parents, we all talked about it. We're like, yeah, next year when we do something, like we're going back to our roots. And I'm like,
Yep.
absolutely. My kids can go sit on the beach and they'll just steal. Like I am not for this chaos of people.
No,
Um,
not until they're older, like, and they can walk around on their own and carry their
mm-hmm,
own backpacks and do, like, that's where I'd be like, okay, if when Josie's maybe we went, I remember going to Disney when I was like 10 and it was super
mm-hmm,
fun and awesome. It was like we were like 10 and 8 or maybe a little younger, but whatever,
mm-hmm.
so we could hang for the day, but I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
just my opinion. I mean, and so yeah, we're actually going to go up to Charlevoix this weekend with Josie, and because my parents have a place up there. So we're going to go up there, and Eric's family will be there. Eric's going to go ski. I might try to see if Josie can go down the bunny slope. We'll see.
Have you seen those videos though of
With the little kids skiing and
yes,
talking. Yeah. I'm like, I
they're
think
so cute.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And so we'll do that for a couple hours, but then she's going to be done. So I'm
Yeah.
like, Eric, you can just ski. I'll go back to the condo, take a nap with her, and that's kind of the flexibility that you need to have with traveling with kids right now is,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because Eric's like, well, you can come ski with me. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
How? No, it's not worth it. And also, selfishly, I don't want to fall and get injured before my race. That would be so embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be on
Like,
the safer side moving forward right now.
no, I'm like, I don't care. I'll go back. She can take a nap and then I'll go shopping. So that's the kind of
Mm-hmm.
vacation that I enjoy right now.
I feel you. I need another vacation after the one I just had where it's just
Yeah.
relaxation and I don't need to think about anything or prep or plan or do all the things, but it's okay. We'll get there
Yeah.
again one day. But I'm
Yep.
embracing the memories that were made and
Because
I'm
you'll
looking
look
up.
back and it will be good when you look back. But yeah, just getting
Yeah.
through all of it and not doing it for a while. Just
No.
quick trips.
I totally agree with you. And then it was like coming home, like you said, the schedules and everything like that. And so like it was getting back to the routine. I feel like I just
Yeah.
spent one whole day going errand running to like restock the house.
Yep.
And then we were splitting kids, and then I had Noli who was just screaming bloody murder everywhere I was going again. And I'm like, oh, for the love. And I ran into Home Goods because I needed to get I can't remember what I needed to get there. And Noli was passed out in the car. She wouldn't even wake up. I just popped her in the car and she like was the cart and she was sleeping like flat in the cart. And I'm sure people thought that like there was something wrong with her because she was literally had her eyes like half open and her mouth wide open and she was just laying flat in the cart, like with her arms out and like whatever. I just got stuff to do. So
Yep.
she's just hanging with me
Hang in
no
there.
matter how it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm gonna do.
Uh, I mean, and I do think it is good to like change up the kids' routine like every once in a while. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because they can't always, I mean, that's not realistic, right? To
Right.
be stuck, well, you can only sleep in your crib. You can only, like, that's not realistic at all. Like, we started bringing Josie in our camper when she was like 2 months old, but we did things that were still fun for us on that
Mm-hmm.
side too, where it's not like super stressful for me and Eric, and then we're not at each other's throats. So yeah, that's why it's good to have little places nearby where it's more feasible. It's not so much of an undertaking. It's not so expensive.
Yeah.
But then it still trains them to be like, okay, this is out of my norm, but I can still have my routine of like, I would
Mm-hmm.
wake up, I play, I take a nap at this time. Like, because now she can sleep anywhere. Like when we went to Florida, there was a large closet down there. We put her pack and play in there and she was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this works.
Yep.
So I think there is something good. It is good to bring them and show them new experiences when they're young, and take them out of their comfort zone. But there's a smart way to do it.
Oh yeah. I
So
totally feel that. So kind of going back to other like little things as it relates to the chaos of living with the thick of it as we're at right now. How do you stay mentally calm when she's just losing
losing
her
her
mind
mind.
about something?
So actually, this is really interesting because my girlfriend Mary, who she's also a counselor, therapist, social worker for
Mm,
kids too, and she is a mom. Her little is 4 now, and we were just talking about this yesterday, or yeah, yesterday after my race. Because I'm like, we're in this like tantrum. It's not, we're on the verge of it. I can still
mm,
kind of like when she starts getting hissy fit, I can kind of distract her and we can move along. But I'm like, Mary, I always know it's because she's trying to tell me something and she's getting frustrated. So when I
mhm,
know that she's mad because she's frustrated, I can be so much more empathetic about it. Like, oh my gosh, that would suck to be wanting something or wanting to tell me something and she can't and she doesn't have the words for it. So like that helps me build patience with it. And then I kind of laugh it off a little bit. Like if I start, because it keeps me from being like, oh my God, just stop, I kind of laugh it
mhm,
off, not at her face, I'm not making fun of her, but I'm kind of like, oh my gosh. Um, I literally could give no, I do not care what people think about me in public. That's the other thing too. Like when we were in Aldi the other day and she saw this giant dinosaur thing and she wanted to go see it. I'm like, all right, we're gonna go see it. She was hugging it, like blah blah blah. And then she's like, "Bring Dino home, bring Dino home." This thing was freaking 3 times the
mhm,
size of her, and I'm like, "No, Dino lives here." And she got a little like sassy about it. And I was
mhm,
like, "Nope, Dino lives here. Move on, distract, move forward." And I'm like, she
mhm.
could have thrown the biggest tantrum. I'm gonna finish my grocery shopping. I sorry, and that that has helped me a lot knowing. And also Mary, my friend, told me this is normal for these kids. Tantrums, it is a normal part of growth and development, and don't give in to them. I mean, she's told me that what they teach her in school is like if they're having a really bad tantrum, just sit there with them. You don't even have to really say anything. Just say, or I'm here when you're ready to talk. Just work through it. I understand you're frustrated because there's nothing you can really do. And by giving in, like, oh, well, here's what you want every single time, you're
Mhm.
digging the worst hole for yourself, the
Oh,
worst hole.
100%. Yeah.
So that's what helped me is knowing that this is normal, understanding that it's usually from frustration because they're trying to communicate and they can't get their point across and all of this is new and it's overwhelming, and I get that. Um, and then kind of thinking back to like when it was in the newborn phase and the kid's crying and you don't know why. Sometimes you're like, wait, have they eaten in the last few hours? Have they had their water? Have they, you can kind of go through your mental checklist and be like, oh, you know what? Maybe it's time for a nap. Maybe you need an early lunch today or something. Because yeah, needs can be, missing. And that has
Mhm.
always helped me. And then the fourth or whatever number one I'm on is who cares if people are going to stare at you in public? That's
Yeah.
their own problem. That's their own problem.
Mhm.
You can't. I mean, I would not. That's their own issue. Don't put that on you.
Yeah. I just finished, or I'm really close to finishing this really good book, and it's called The Let Them Theory. And it made me think of what you were just saying about others. It's just like, let them judge
Yeah,
me. And
yeah,
I'm going to then just keep living my life. But
yeah,
that's a them problem and not a me
yeah.
problem at
If
this
you
moment.
know exactly, if you know in your heart you're doing the best you can for your child at that time, and that this tantrum is out of your control.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah. If you're doing the best you can, what else are you supposed to do?
Yep.
What else are you supposed to do? And that's just, like I said, it's normal for this age. Um, and yeah, just think back on your little checklist. Are their basic needs met? Okay. Then this is what's happening right now. We'll get through it.
Hmm.
We'll move on, and you're probably going to be better off on the other side because you
Hmm.
learned something. But
Yeah.
it can be. I notice it like the thing that really grinds me is at the end of the day when I'm trying to like cook dinner and I've had her all day long and
Hmm.
I've given her 150% of my attention. It doesn't matter. And I know that doesn't matter. It's not like she gets filled up with and gets sick of me. It's always I'm always going to be wanted. But if I'm making dinner or something and she's hanging on to me with the mommy, 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 that's where I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
You need to go to your dad for a little bit. Like, I just need 10 minutes. And that's totally normal too, because coming back refreshed, then you're way less likely to be snippy and react negatively in a moment of she's not even doing anything wrong. But
Hmm.
it's really easy to be like,
Oh yeah.
stop.
Oh, 100%. That's where I feel like making dinner, and then
Hmm.
Baylor's always bopping around doing something, and then the dogs always need to eat at the same time.
Hmm.
And then Noli opens up every single cabinet under the sun, even if we have the little locks. She still finds it
Yep.
because I can't find a lock for my garbage can, which is annoying to me because she opens it up and then she starts pulling the garbage out, and I'm like, oh, for the love of Pete, child! Like,
Yeah.
I just need to get this done, and please stop opening the garbage and making a bigger mess for me, like right now. And then if you like
Yes.
pick her up and place her somewhere, she gets mad, and then she comes
Yes.
back, and so I totally feel you on that
Yes. It's like when they're destroying stuff faster than you can clean it up.
one. Mm-hmm.
And I finally like I held off for a while getting locks, like, and I ended up getting locks on all my cabinets and then locks on my pantry. And she's obsessed with going into my bathroom. But what drew me over the line was, well, we obviously have medicine in our bathroom, so we need to lock it.
Mm-hmm.
But she would go into my makeup and she was running around with like a piece of eyeliner and she drew on my bed comforter. And
Oh,
yeah, bright like blue ugly streaks down the side of my white on my white comforter, and I was like, that's
oh
it's my
man.
because to her it looks like a crayon, and
Yeah.
I mean
Mm-hmm.
she's literally 1.5 when she did this, and so I'm like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, okay, we gotta. It's annoying in the time to constantly have to unlock your stuff before
Yeah.
you move it around, but I'm like, it's way more annoying if they write all over your comforter in a freaking eyeliner crayon. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Just wait.
I
Just wait until she finds the crayons or something when you guys go to a restaurant and she starts coloring in your car. I remember one day I was driving
oh.
home with Baylor and I hear like scribbles. And I'm like, what the heck is he scribbling on? He's coloring crayon on my car. Like the plastic in the door, like
Oh,
the door handle, he's coloring orange. And I'm like, what are you
oh
doing? Oh,
gosh.
I color, Mama. I'm like,
Not
no,
on
you color
there.
on paper. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I was like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I can't do anything right now because I'm driving a freaking car.
Yeah.
And this kid's just thinking he's making artwork on plastic black cars.
Yeah.
Yep,
Great.
all good times.
Yeah.
So then I learned the hard way. Do not give him crayons
Yeah.
while we're driving in
It's
the car.
trial and error. It's trial and error.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah, that would be what I would say my advice is with the tantrums and the set yourself up for success too with the locks and the I held off for a while because I'm like, this is gonna be annoying if I have to unlock
mm-hmm.
stuff all the time, but it's way more annoying when they're ripping crap out of the kitchen when you're trying to make dinner at the end of the day and you can only do so much. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll
How I know Josie's a year and a half. It's going to be
she'll
two
be
soon.
2 in May. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you starting to think about like the next steps as it relates to potty training and when you're going to do that?
Yeah,
She's getting
so
there.
yeah, we bought a little
Oh, yeah.
potty. So well, we first started with I have like a little potty seat that goes on the actual toilet. So we
Mm-hmm.
started with that, and she's a little freaked out sitting up there without me right next to her. And she's like, she'll sit up there, but she's like, after a while, she's like, no, she'll say, no, no, pee pee, no, no, pee pee. And I'm like, okay, your your legs aren't even touching the ground. So then we got her like a little one. Um, that she can get on and off by herself and everything. So we're gonna try that, at least see how it goes, but we haven't had any success yet. I had her
Mm-hmm.
sitting watching TV on her potty today to see it like drinking water to see if it would kind of like
Oh, yeah.
but I'm just we're dabbling. We're dabbling, but she hasn't done it yet.
Okay.
So yeah, no tips or tricks yet because I haven't been successful. But just
Well,
small introductions.
definitely keep us posted because
I
I have
will.
a plethora of lovely stories to say there. We finally made it, though. I don't know what happened because we started this journey, I want to say at the end of August, beginning of September. Ugh. Um, and he finally, I want to say, a, like a few weeks ago, finally realized that he should not poop his pants. And he
Oh,
finally realized, like, I should go to the toilet. And since then, does everything by himself. You don't even have to ask him. He just like freaking tells you and goes. Goes in the
That's
public
amazing.
bathrooms,
Oh,
like holds it. Like it is crazy. And so like when they say that they finally get the hang of it, like it is literally night and day.
yeah,
But man, when you're in the thick of it, well, or
I
just
know.
starting out,
Yeah, we're
you
just
ready.
starting out. Yep. And so she'll tell me like if she has she'll talk about it, but she's kind of scared still. Which like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I literally just started this small introduction last week. So, um yeah, I don't want her to get freaked out yet by it, and I just am trying to make her like fun and exciting and not like, no, you have to sit on this potty. So,
Yeah, no, I feel that one.
but
Um,
she's still a little young, but I'm like, I'll take as soon as I can get this going. I do not want to have two kids in diapers. Is pretty much my
that's
game
how
plan
I
there.
felt too. I mean, I did have to in diapers. Then pretty much after Noah got a few months old, you're like, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, so I feel you on that one.
yeah, that's the
Definitely
goal.
work on that. Yeah, yeah. I don't blame you on that one.
I think we can get there. I think we can get there.
So when we're thinking through the life chaos, being in the thick of it, trying to balance everything and breathing and not losing your cool, what would you say are like the top? I know you touched on one is just like going through the mental checklist of like, hey, why are they doing this? Like, am I
Yeah,
missing something? Are they trying to communicate with me? It's just like to think through like that kind of stuff. But what would you also give individuals that were like are in the thick of it? They're a brand new mom and they're like, oh my gosh, I just feel like I'm over my head right now, and I am just feel alone. What are
yeah,
other like tips and tricks that you feel like, okay, do this. This is good. This is good.
yeah.
Like, what are other things to like help work through that
So,
moments of
um,
weakness?
yeah, so going back to my conversation I had with my girlfriend Mary yesterday, and we both kind of struggled with the newborn postpartum phase,
Mm-hmm.
and we both said it felt like it was something that you were never going to get out of. Like it literally felt like when you were in this, you're like, how am I ever going to get out of this? And it kind of is like that with like even with potty training. Like when you first start this, you're like,
Yeah.
this is never going to work. Like all of these things, when you first start out, you're like, how in the heck do other people do this? But like nature takes over and things fall into place. And
Mm-hmm.
the thing that I would recommend saying is try to relinquish some of the control. That's what's really, really hard for a lot of new moms. And it was hard for me too, because I'm a very, like, I like to be in charge. I like to be in control.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a completely separate human, and you can't take over their natural body mechanisms, their sleep schedule, their eating habits, their like it's you're going to learn the kid, you're going to learn what's normal, and you are going to get out of the thick of it. I remember when I was just newly postpartum, my sister-in-law one time, she just goes, you're going to be able to sleep again someday. And I was like, yeah, right. There's no way. There's no way this kid's ever sleeping through the night. And then like a couple weeks later, you're like, what the heck? How did this just happen? And then you hear other moms talking like, oh yeah, my kid slept through the night. And you're kind of like, what? How are they
Yeah.
doing this? How are you doing this? But it will happen for you. And you can't put your pressure on yourself to look at everybody else's timelines and everybody else's kids and be like, well, they are that every single person is different. And that's what's really, really
Mm-hmm.
freaking hard with motherhood is trying to compare and contrast stories to where you are, to where this person is, putting that on yourself. Why am I not this is not helpful. But what is helpful is reaching out, talking to other moms like
Mm-hmm.
this, creating a little community, asking for help, knowing that you will get out of this stage. Whatever the stage is that you're in, you will get out of it. And then
Mm-hmm.
there'll be another stage, but you're going to be so much more equipped to deal with it. Everything, it's like you're building little blocks, and
Mm-hmm.
like already I'm looking like when I have my second kid, I'm already like, okay, I'm going to do so many things differently to make it easier for me, not for the
Yeah.
kid, to make it easier
No.
for me, to take the pressure off
100%.
of me. And it's just something that you don't really know until you go through it. And like I said, every kid is different, and you talk about it and don't compare yourself to others.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that gets me is like for example, yesterday I was with my kids for almost a week and a half straight,
Oh,
no break.
yeah.
And I was literally, it was 7:30 in the morning and I was already over it
Yeah.
from like the constant like, "No, no, 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 I need you, no, 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 no," like
Yeah.
whining to, like I said, Noli screaming that I was just like, it's only 7:30 and I already want to like restart this day. And Ryan's like, just go to the barn. Go to the
Yeah.
barn for 7 hours, as long as I like it, just go because you
Yep.
need the break. And I think that's another big thing is prioritizing or at least trying to prioritize self care so that you're not drained with the chaos and like at constant day to day and you lose yourself that you're just like going through the routine and you're eventually getting numb and then you just
Yep.
like don't have anything. I feel like is very important too, even if it's going out on a walk or sitting outside for a hot second while the baby sleeps or your kid's taking a nap or they're at preschool or whatever, and just giving yourself a break. I feel like just doing the small things to help is going to give you
You need
the
to.
best in the long run. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I got swallowed up in postpartum. Like that's the best way I can describe it. It's like you get swallowed up by all of these
Mm-hmm.
little tasks and then you just start doing it and you're not thinking about it and you're not sleeping and it's just one thing after another and then eventually you're like 3, 4 months in and you're like, how did I get here? And you
Yeah.
don't even really realize it. But you're like, wow, how did I get here? And you lose yourself. And so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like even scheduling in one even 10 minutes, I mean that
Yeah.
makes a huge difference. Asking for help was something I really needed to do more, and scheduling in time for myself away from your kid.
Mm-hmm. No matter how mom guilt you'll
Oh
get,
yeah, you'll get the
it's
mom.
gonna help you in the end.
It does. And I
100%.
am here to say that I felt way better when I started prioritizing myself and I became a better
Mm-hmm.
wife and a better mom.
100%.
110%.
Yep.
100%. Like when I started running again or going to the barn more and doing stuff that made me happy, it never took over my life again, obviously, but it
Mm-hmm.
made me, when I was present with Josie and Eric, way better of a person
Oh yeah.
because
I
I
totally
didn't
agree.
have like the outlet of work or anything for a long time. So yeah, that that's huge. And having somebody
Mm-hmm.
support you in that is necessary as well, whether it be your husband, partner, friend, somebody to support
Mm-hmm.
you with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Good
So
advice.
that is kind of the wrap up of our topic today. However, we have a few other fun segments that we're adding into our podcast. The next segment that we are adding in is a listener stories and questions. Currently, right now, we're going to pause that, but I wanted to make a shout out about it because we want to hear from you. If you
Yep.
follow us on Instagram, YouTube, or listen to our podcast on Spotify, please comment. Let us hear your story. Let us hear the questions you might have. If you have topics that you want us to talk about, like we want to hear it so that we can then kind of dive in a little more on the next segment. So that's that. And then the last thing we want to just touch on before we wrap up tonight is a new segment that we're having is called Mom Hacks and Tips. And so we are going to be highlighting every single time we come on one tip, one hack that we live by, swear by, that we want to share with you our secrets to help you be a successful mom more than you already are. And so with that, I'm gonna pick one that I feel like is pretty go-to right now for us is what is the top snack that you always have on hand that you know is a saving grace for Josie that you can just like if she's like about to have a meltdown or if there's something crazy, you can just be like, here you go,
Here you
instantly
go.
make her happier. What is that?
So I have two answers now. So it used to be those little packet things, the like applesauce packets
Oh
that they
yeah,
squeeze up, and
the pouches.
the pouches. Yep. She used to be obsessed with the pouches, but recently she's becoming a little more chaotic with the pouches in the car, and then the pouches are
Mm.
ending up everywhere. So a snack now that keeps her occupied, it takes her a while to eat, and is semi-healthy, is she's obsessed with raisins. So I bring raisins
Mm.
everywhere. And the nice thing about it, I don't like bringing Eric doesn't understand what I mean by dusty snacks, but I don't like bringing dusty snacks that have that like Cheetos or like
Oh
fish
yeah.
that have that dusty Dorito powder on it
Mm-hmm.
because it gets all over their hands, all over their shirt, all over everything. I don't care if she eats a Dorito, but I know that in the car when I get her out on the way to church, now she's covered in orange dust. So
Hmm.
a clean, semi-healthy snack that she seems to really like, and she'll eat them one at a time. Raisins. And you
I
don't
love
have to
that.
keep them warm or cold or anything like that. You know, she just picks at them, and I don't feel bad about giving them to her.
That is, I don't think my kids even have tried a raisin before. How did you
I
even think of that?
So my mom gave her some the other day. It was like a couple months ago. My mom was eating them in her oatmeal or something, and she's like, "Here, you want to have this?" Ooh. And she's been obsessed with it. And it's better than a fruit snack.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here mowing down raisins, but it's new and exciting to her, and she likes it, and it's easy, and it doesn't get them covered in crap. And the other thing too is she'll like take the packet and not be able to squeeze the bottom up all the way. So then I'm driving in the car doing one of these
Hmm.
numbers trying to help her. I'm like, nope, here, just take your pack of raisins and be done with it.
I did. I love that. I'm gonna have
Yep,
to start telling
that's my
my kids
tip.
to try raisins. Right
Yeah.
now, my mom got them both hooked on those like big bars,
Oh, yeah.
the little square ones. They're like a two like square ones like that.
Yeah.
Literally, you can go to Costco or Sam's and like buy a pack of 30, and I kid you not, go through like 10 a week because both of them like live and breathe it, and I love them because they're little
Mm-hmm.
and there's two of them, and they both are quiet, and even if Noli squeezes it doesn't cause like a giant mess, like a legit
Yes.
granola like giant like Nutri-Grain bar or anything like that because it's
Yes.
little. But those are my go-to right now is keeping those two quiet or just giving them big bars because I feel like it's somewhat healthy. I'm
Yeah,
sure it
it's
has
not
a
that
ton
they're
of
not that
sugar in
bad.
it, but it's okay because in my head, bigs are good for you.
Yeah.
So I
No,
keep saying,
that's a good one. That's a good one. The other
yeah,
thing too, this is not for the diaper bag, but what we'll do, she's obsessed with popsicles, so we make her own popsicles, and we just like I'll make a smoothie with like a ton of good stuff in it. You know, you got
yeah.
the fruit yogurt, I'll put kale, I'll put everything in there and then freeze it, and she'll eat one of those usually with dinner every night, and I don't feel bad about giving them to her. So sometimes tricking them into thinking it's a popsicle or a cookie when it's really not. Like I gave her a piece of a protein bar the other day and she thought it was a cookie. So, hey, perfect.
Oh, we do that. My mom makes them breakfast cookies like once a week, and she'll throw in zucchini, she'll throw in spinach, she'll throw in everything and like grind it up really little. Then she'll add chocolate chips in it, and Baylor is obsessed with it because he thinks that he's
Nice.
eating like a chocolate chip breakfast cookie, but really he's like just eating all of the things that he should eat, but he doesn't really secretly know that it is.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I am so thankful for my mom to be able to create all that stuff because I don't have time to peel zucchini and carrots and mush them all together in muffin pans. But at least it gets my kid to eat vegetables. So I totally get where you're coming from with the smoothie.
Yep.
Perfect. So to wrap it up, we
Yep.
want to thank you all for joining us again on another episode of the Mother Hour where we just talk real life chaos of surviving toddlerhood, just a smidge. Um, we want to thank you for tuning in. Again, keep following us on Instagram and on our YouTube, as well as listening to us on Spotify. If you have any comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. Join in for our next episode as we talk about staying single mom life and being strong through it as our significant others travel and some tips and tricks on how we be the one and only mom balancing, again, fatherhood, working, and everything in
And
between.
all the other things that
So,
come with it.
yeah, and definitely share our links on, again, socials to your friends or anybody else that you think would love listening to us, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yay. Thanks for listening.